Gaming recently has been plagued by massive layoffs, games failing, and studios being shut down. But why? Well, for starters, games are getting incredibly expensive. According to Jason Schreier, he says AAA game budgets are around $300 million, sometimes even more, to produce now. Which means if your game costs $70 and the platform that you are publishing to takes 30%, you would need to sell around 6 million copies just to break even, and that doesn't even include other costs like marketing. Studios like Ubisoft have had massive flops recently. Assassin's Creed Shadows had a $250 to $400 million budget and only sold around 4.3 million copies. And Skull and Bones, a self-labeled quadruple A game, had a budget of $650 to $850 million and ended up with less than 1 million players across all platforms. Microsoft has also shut down multiple studios. Roundhouse Games, which is absorbed into ZeniMax Studios, AlphaDog, Arcane Austin, and the biggest one, Tango Gameworks, who made the successful and well-received Hi-Fi Rush. There are also tons of games that get stuck in development hell. Development cycles are longer than ever. The average game takes around 3 to 5 years, some massive projects taking up to 6 to 8 years, some getting canceled before they even come out. Just in 2025 alone, a Transformers game that was announced in 2022 was canceled for now, 2 unannounced PlayStation Live Service games were canceled, and Sony just has a long history of killing off projects. There was apparently a Last of Us multiplayer game that never came out, the Spider-Man multiplayer game that got leaked a couple years back that never came out. Warner Bros. Canceled an upcoming Wonder Woman game. A Titanfall game was canceled due to EA cutting 300 employees, 100 being from Respawn. And finally, Microsoft canceled the game Perfect Dark and Everwind after they announced over 9,000 layoffs. This was so they could invest more money in AI, by the way. Even Epic Games laid off over 1,000 employees last week due to the downturn in Fortnite that started in 2025. Surprisingly, one of the people laid off was Vitaly Nemushin, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, the artist behind Jonesy, the literal mascot of Fortnite. And judging from his ArtStation page, he worked on Fortnite Save the World 2, meaning he's probably been at Epic Games for a very long time. Maybe if Epic stopped with the Epic Games Store, which they are definitely losing money on, or if they stopped buying games and then making them worse, or if they stopped paying washed up actors like The Rock to show it for a season, then maybe they wouldn't be losing millions of dollars a year. But this isn't an Epic Games video, so I'll move on. Highguard, a recent hero shooter announced at the 2025 Game Awards, developed by Wild Knight Entertainment with ex-Respawn developers, shut down in less than 2 months. It had an estimated budget of $200 million and was closed due to not finding an audience, leading to the whole entire studio being shut down, leaving dozens of people unemployed. Highguard also highlights another problem. Studios keep making the same thing. So many live service games are still trying to chase the success that Fortnite once had. But what new games don't understand is that Fortnite did do a lot of things that were unique, and the game was almost updated every single week. The hero shooter genre, popularized by Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch, has been getting pretty oversaturated recently. Marvel Rivals, while not a flop, is extremely similar to Overwatch, and it would not surprise me if Marvel Rivals ended up shutting down in a few years due to people just getting bored of it. Another game, X Defiant, that came out in 2025, shut down in less than a year. Not a bad game, it's just not interesting in the slightest. Just another hero shooter that was expected to perform way better than it deserved to. And it's not just live service games. The whole Ubisoft formula, where every game kind of just feels the same with a different skin, it's not a bad formula, but that's all it is. It's not good and definitely nothing new. Where it gets annoying is where you have different games, all made by Ubisoft, like Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Star Wars Outlaws, and Skull and Bones, all suffering from the exact same issues because they're following the exact same playbook. Is the expectation that we're gonna buy all of these $70 games that are almost exactly the same every single year? Somehow these companies, who have been here since the birth of gaming, don't understand that people who play games are some of the most picky people ever. Some of these recent failures are perfect examples that you can't just make a game that's just playable. It needs to be different enough to keep players interested. It needs polished, and if it's a live service, it needs frequent, high-quality updates to keep players interested. A good example of this is Crimson Desert, a game that came out a few weeks ago that had very, very high expectations and honestly did look too good to be true. In the trailers, it showed a lot of different gameplay mechanics, and when it was released, it was a bit of a rocky start. Some reviews said it was great, and some said it wasn't. Steam reviews were mixed initially, but a lot of the negative reviews were about things that could be fixed, which they were. On Steam, the game went from mixed to mostly positive, and now it sits at very positive, and it's still climbing. I've been playing it myself, still very early on, but the game tries a lot of new things and does them pretty well. The game sold 5 million copies in under just 2 weeks, showing that you don't need to appeal to everyone to stand out and be a success. And while it's funny to point and laugh at people like Ubisoft and Epic when they lose a bunch of money, the worst part is always what comes after. People losing their jobs. Artists who spend years working on a game just for it to be canceled overnight. And until companies learn, it's just going to keep happening.